We're live, boy.
Hey everyone, welcome to Slow News Day Live. My name is Steve Boykin, and I'm joined by more people than usual, and more on the way. We'll get to that, but for the moment, let me introduce some of the people that are here and hanging out. Firstly, my better than your co-host, Glory Jones. What's up, Glory Jones? Hi. You seem excited, Glory.
Because my dog is growing up, y'all. Look at my man, Steve. It's his birthday. That's what's up. Woo!
Ali Alexandra. Fucking A, dude. Yeah, all right, fine. Yes, it is my birthday. And enough people snapped. So I was born on April Fool's Day for fucking real.
That is so perfect.
That's what you get. Ali, what's happening? It's good to see you. You're muted.
You're muted, Allie.
The whole time. Okay. Happy birthday. I'm not doing that again.
All right.
Just kidding.
Good to see you.
That's kind of represents how my day's been. Good to see you too. Good to
I hear you hanging out. We also have James Montauk and Stevie Redneck Economics with us, and again, there'll be more people coming. I'm glad you guys showed up. How y'all doing?
Doing good.
Good. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday to you.
To you. Yeah, Hana ho, brah. Hana ho. Let's go party.
Okay, I've committed to like 3 fucking live streams today. Like starting.
man.
Yeah. So clearly I'm picking my party for a different moment. But I am, and look, man, part of that can be.
And what is that moment, Steve?
April 10th and 11th in Los Angeles, California. We will be holding a couple of events around the 2-year anniversary of Julian Assange being illegally and violently dragged out of the Ecuadorian embassy. We'll be holding a press panel with Pasta and Fee. They will be representing their fuck censorship. I guess movement. I guess it is. We all walked from point to point. That was movement. Yeah, that counts. But they will be joining us for a panel. We'll be addressing independent media and local organizers, like about the sort of broad strokes about why the Assange case matters to them, and then specifically why they should be joining us when we hold these events, and why they should be covering it, and why they should be, personally concerned and hopefully involved. So that's going to be cool as fuck. And then on the 11th, we're going to meet at CBS Columbia Square, Sunset and Gorman. We're going to march up a block to Hollywood Boulevard, down to Cahuenga, and wind up in front of CNN, again on Sunset and Cahuenga. The Fuck Censorship protest will be with us. A couple of other anti-war groups have expressed interest and said that they're probably going to show up too. So we're going to count that. And look, here's like everybody. This is post-partisan. That means we don't care who you voted for, and we're not going to judge you based on that, because we want something that isn't political. We want to secure our first freedoms. Which is apolitical. There's no partisan ideology to that whatsoever. So you could show up however the fuck you woke up, and like nobody's gonna give a shit. We're just gonna be glad you're there. Yeah. What else? I don't, man. Yeah, never mind. I'll hold on to that one.
Aren't we all going to be there, perhaps?
You're right. So why do I gotta? Okay, so for the first time fucking ever, the entire Slow News Day crew will be like in the same place
Yes.
in person at the same time, and we're hoping to render a hole in the space-time continuum.
Yes.
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 You hear that, Kevin? Yeah, you better fortify some shit, Kevin.
She's so
'Cause-
fortified.
Get it done.
Some shit. All right. Did you want to talk about and horrify people with the NSCAI report, Jones? Are you prepared?
Sure. I have some scattered thoughts on chapter 8 of the National Security Council on AI's final report.
To kind of set this up a little bit while Glory's getting all that together, if you remember a couple weeks ago now, we did an extensive deep dive just on the executive summary of the final report to the White House that the National Security Council on artificial intelligence put together and delivered. And that's it was horrifying. It was, the report itself is like 700 some pages. About a third of that is actual text, and then it's all blueprint and footnote, which is where some of the
blueprints
shit is. Huh?
Yeah, but the blueprint is where the important stuff is, because they have a whole section of the appendix that's dedicated to proposed legislation. So that's where you can find like the real action and stuff. And we're gonna go into it even more. But the chapter that I had the incredible unpleasure of reading was Chapter 8, Upholding Democratic Values, Privacy, Civil Liberties, and Civil Rights and Uses of AI for National Security. That's just...
Is it just one slide that says ha ha ha
ha? So there are 3 slides. One is a middle finger. One is one man, one jar. And then the third one is a bunch of ha 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 ha.
Oh my god.
I don't know how to draw a middle finger. I just realized that, but okay, okay, we got a democratic model of AI governance. It's just a pretentious graphic. I have some annotations on here, so you're just gonna have to bear with me through that. But I'll go through the actual chapter itself pretty quick, because kind of the real stuff is in the blueprint for action and the legislation they propose. So the basic purpose of the American government is to protect the security and liberty of the American people. Americans have a long tradition of debating how best to achieve these twin goals when tensions arrive between them. The 2 decades following 9/11 saw intensive efforts to calibrate the government's powers to stop another terrorist attacks with its obligations to respect individual rights and liberties. AI is ushering in the next era of this debate because new technologies offer government agencies more powerful ways to collect and process information, track individuals' behavior and movements, and act on the basis of computer-generated analysis. In addition to supporting military and intelligence missions abroad, these tools are promising for national security purposes closer to home, whether to examine foreign intelligence to find signs of danger in the United States, to screen for threats at the borders, to protect against cyber attacks and information operations, or to identify domestic terrorism plots. Brilliant, fucking brilliant. Americans have concerns that AI applications used for these security and public safety purposes, especially those involving biometric technologies, which is like facial recognition, or the analysis of aggregated personal data, will invade their privacy, respect their freedom of speech and assembly, and reinforce bias and discrimination. No shit. At the same time, if applied effectively, AI can help improve protections for privacy and civil liberties. Okay. Machine analysis could be more precise. And AI systems potentially could enhance oversight through real-time monitoring. For the United States, as for other democratic countries, use of AI by officials must comport with principles of limited government and individual liberty. These principles do not uphold themselves. In a democratic society, any empowerment of the state must be accompanied by wise restraints to make that power legitimate in the eyes of its citizens. Oh, God. As this report argues, the promise of emerging AI technologies to enhance national security is real and significant. The ability of U.S. intelligence, Homeland Security, and law enforcement agencies, our most trustful forces of the state, to develop and use them for national security purposes must be preserved. To do so, however, the government must ensure that their use is effective, legitimate, and lawful. Public trust will hinge on justified assurance about compliance with privacy, civil liberties, civil rights.
It's just, what else are you going to say? Your fourth, like Snowden, he exposes the Fourth Amendment rights being ripped from us. Now, of course, everybody else is going after, everybody out there that's with the draconian corporate government that clearly exists right now, they're going after our freedom of speech. And Julian Assange, that's what he's representing. He's representing both amendments, the first and the fourth. And this is something that's clearly being taken away. We're doing this for your own good. We're going to use the AI. We're going to use iRobots. We're going to use what is that? HAL 9000. Right, to take care of everything, and it's going to be okay. But basically, you're getting hosed, you're getting fooled, you're getting played. It's just the PSYOP is crazy. The social engineering is totally out of control. This is the reason why we're fighting for Julian. This is the reason why these guys are out there. Why you're out there. Why I'm out there. Why Stevie's out there. Allie's out there. All of us have been out there. Yes, for sure. We're all doing. We've got to get out there and do what we can. We are. Just more people getting involved. That's what I mean. And fuck those people. They're fucking assholes.
I'll say this, man. I'll say this. When we started action for Assange, like halfway through 2019, we said what we would like to see happen is for this to turn into a decentralized network of activists where people are independently just holding actions and shit like that. And now, almost 2 years later, we're there. Like it's actually happening. Like in and of itself, on its own, where people are now coming to us being like, "Hey, we're gonna do this thing. Could you help us promote it or what?" It's like proof concept, and it's funny because the shit that we were talking about back then, a lot of people are just in the last couple of months, starting to pick up on and starting to talk about a little bit more, and taking big picture. That's beautiful. It is. In micro, it sucks when some of those people pretend that they're the sole arbiters of this information and that it hasn't existed prior to them discovering it and sharing it with their audience. But do people got to hustle for pay bills and shit? I get it. It just sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very frustrating. It's actually a conflict, an inner conflict when you see that, because it's okay, we were talking about that, or I knew about this years ago. It's not like I need much from it. But then you see people come on now and act like they've never, no one else has covered this before. It's just all right, where'd you get that information? But it's in the long run, it is good.
The movement is growing. There's no doubt.
That's what matters.
It's little cells here and there. There's little groups, but now it's really starting to take hold. We've got the worldwide rally, by the way, for freedom. That's against the lockdowns and masks and all this other draconian corporate governance crap that's just exponentially getting fucking out of hand. But they are on board too. A lot of them, I mean, and they were all over the world. So
Mhm.
the partnering of that, and I brought this up just the other day with you guys. I think I mentioned it in chat or something, or when you guys were on here. But I would definitely say at least 98.5% of them understand why Julian's freedom is so vital. It's so vital to not just their cause, but all of ours. From way before he even got targeted, to moving forward. So that's a bit of good news, by the way. Everybody's aboard for sure.
Yeah,
That's
it's
good
awesome.
news.
Yeah, you're definitely seeing it pick up right now. I mean, like it's kind of like snowballing. But I mean, like what y'all started, what y'all been doing, you're seeing more and more people. I mean,
Something's
I'm
fucking
kind of
with
getting
the
back into
audio.
it again, but trying to play catch up and be here and learn as much as possible to help out as much as possible because like I can totally see like this is what everything's going on.
Something's fucking weird with your audio.
No, I didn't want to interrupt you.
You're like hella fucking.
Have
echo.
James
I
mute
mean,
a
for
second
some
to see
reason
if that
I'm
fixes
interrupting
it.
because I can't understand a word that you're saying, so I figured
Oh,
might
is
as well
it too
interrupt.
low?
Because-
Oh, I hear it now. I think James's
Oh,
mic
yeah.
is picking it up.
I think it's
I think you're good now, Stevie.
You gotta unmute those, Stevie.
yeah. You have to unmute yourself.
How's it now?
Yeah, it's better.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, I was just saying that. Yeah, it's just a snowball effect. I mean, what started off with just a few people, is now. I mean, you're seeing more and more groups coming together because this is what all the other fights are built on. When we don't have the lines of communication, which is a classic tactic in war, is cutting the enemy's lines of communication. So if we can't talk to each other, have discussions, report on things, that's, I mean, how are we going to achieve anything else like, Medicare for all or, fill in the blank. So yeah, that's why I've been prioritizing this one. Hopefully on the 11th, I can get something started here. I'm going to start reaching out to like some groups out here. I mean, it may not be a big rally, but it's going to be our first one, at least one that I put together.
Totally.
First one, in recent history. I think they tried one a few years ago, but there was like 4 people that showed up. But hey, maybe those 4 people and then us 2. So now we got 6 people. So we'll get there. Yeah.
Is Misty? Sorry, technical issues. Is she in Ohio? She's right up the street. I mean, for us, right up.
Yeah, I think she's going to DC though. I think she'll be in DC on the 11th.
Far away. That's not far away. DC. How long? How many? I haven't been there.
It's like
4 hours, 5 hours.
5.
All right, we're gonna have to go there. I'm gonna have to dress up in a coconut bra with a hula skirt and get out there and race.
What?
Right. I've been saying when I go to DC, I'm gonna do it.
Far be it from me to tell you how to fly your freak flag, my friend.
What?
It's
Maui
not the
style.
show this is. So you get right out, you fucking shake what your mother gave you, and you enjoy that shit. Celebrate.
Yes. Yes.
Do your
Then
thing.
doing a haku out there for Julian. The haku for Julian. That's a good one.
That's nice. So I have a couple more pages of just the initial
Oh, yeah,
chapter,
yeah, yeah.
not even, of this lovely, wholesome read. Okay, so the tenets for managing AI challenges. This commission will not endeavor to draw all of the lines for what may be permissible or wise in particular circumstances. However, important principles to follow in different national security contexts include the following. Foreign intelligence collection and analysis. The Office of the Director of National Intelligence AI Ethics Guidance, that's funny, to the intelligence community is an encouraging step as it places strong emphasis on utilizing AI for foreign intelligence missions, because that's so much fucking better, in ways that uphold the privacy and civil liberties of Americans. As these guidelines are implemented, it will be important to pay close attention to ensuring that data minimization, retention, and querying procedures are adequate and rigorously enforced. Border security. AI surveillance and analysis capabilities can make government's operations more efficient and effective at the borders and ports of entry. But to sustain public support for these uses, the DHS must take care to ensure that automated screening processes lead agents only to the information they need and are authorized to access, and do not impermissibly single out individuals based on characteristics such as race and religion. Fuck off. Domestic security and public safety. Rapid advances in AI-enabled technologies for law enforcement purposes, including biometric surveillance techniques such as facial recognition, may be outpacing rules for their proper use. The government must exercise special caution in managing risks to bedrock constitutional principles, including equal protection, due process, freedom from unreasonable searches and seizures, and freedoms of speech and assembly. Go eat a dick. In carrying out these missions, it will be important to maintain clear distinctions between appropriate authorities in these national security contexts. It is also important to gain greater public confidence by enhancing transparency, improving the performance and reliability of AI technologies, ensuring due process, and strengthening oversight. With these tenets in mind, the government should take the following steps, and this is kind of the meat of that. Okay, it's one of the recommendations they give. Develop and test systems with the goal of advancing privacy preservation and fairness. ML systems in particular require ongoing assessments of privacy and fairness assurances, including specific definition of fairness being assumed. Although an ML system may meet requirements at a static point in time, ongoing compliance is not a given once the system is operational. This is in large part due to changing data, the introduction of unintended bias, and potential re-identification of anonymized data. This is a complex technical area, and continued work in the technical, legal, and policy domains is required to find greater consensus on technical approaches to preserving privacy, civil liberties, and civil rights. Meanwhile, agencies should take the following steps. Assess and mitigate risks in the design, development, and testing of AI systems. In addition to conducting risk assessments for the privacy, civil liberties, and civil rights of U.S. persons, IC Elements, DHS, and the FBI should take measures to mitigate those risks and document remaining risks that are accepted. In doing so, they should adopt practices from the key considerations, including using privacy protections such as robust anonymization and, when possible, privacy-preserving technology, taking steps to mitigate bias in development and testing, and assessing model performance on an ongoing basis. Identify an office, committee, or team in each agency that will conduct a pre-deployment review of AI technologies that will impact privacy, civil liberties, and civil rights. Nice. This should include review in advance of their deployment and for compliance over the lifespans of the system. An office in each IC Element, DHS, and the FBI should be equipped to assess data, model, and system documentation, and to assess the testing results of systems with respect to their intended use. Establish third-party.
So wait, hang on.
Yeah.
Because.
Do you want me to read the next part first? Because the next part is just funny.
Yeah.
Establish third-party testing centers for national security-related AI systems that could impact U.S. persons. Such independent third-party testing could be done by a national laboratory, a university-affiliated research center, or federally funded research and development center. Such testing should be mandatory for high-stakes systems, but otherwise voluntary. It would provide agencies with additional expertise to help overcome in-house limitations.
I mean, look, we're
independent third-party testing centers that are national laboratories, federally funded, and you'll find out soon.
Yeah. Yeah.
You'll
yeah.
find out soon exactly what they mean by independent third-party testing centers, and I know our chat will just love who it is.
Yeah, but this is essentially Mark Benioff starting the agency that does the regulations for the deep sea mining that he owns the permits to and the equipment for.
Good.
It's what I'm
Good.
seeing. The
Right.
thing that got me the most is the opposite. It's the opposite of data anonymization. In other words, data anonymization means that they're trying to give you privacy, but they're trying to rip it away. They're stealing your data. They're going to take your data
Yeah,
and use it however they want to use it.
that's what they do.
That's what they do. Data anonymization is a type of information sanitization whose intent is privacy protection. It is the process of removing personally identifiable information from data sets so that the people whom the data described remain anonymous. It's the opposite. This is the opposite.
Yeah, for
Is
sure.
what's happening.
There's no anonymity.
And that's going to be bad, not just for us, but for everybody. And they're doing it for us, right? They're doing it because they care.
Well, yeah, it's for
That's-
safety and such.
Yeah,
of course.
it's the flowers and all the stuff, and we care, and we're going to take care of you, and we give a fuck, but they don't. We all know they don't. It's for their ill-intended means of socially engineering the masses, as it's been for a while.
Yeah, well, it even says on there, like, hey, you know, this shit's off the track. Like, it is off the track. We have lost complete control of how it's going to impact. I mean, it's going to disrupt everything, basically the bedrock of, you know, what our Constitution and everything else. But you know what? Proceed, right? I mean, mitigate. I mean, they keep using that word mitigate, minimize. I don't.
Yeah,
You can't minimize like something like that. It's just don't do it. Don't do it. That's
they
how
talk
you stop
yeah,
it. Don't do it. Like,
right. They talk
Crazy.
about it like mitigate, minimize, like it's like I don't know. I just think of like bugs, like they're like some like mitigation, like they're just trying to like get rid of everybody. They're like gnats, like they just think of people as little bugs that just need to go away. Like let's get rid of this problem.
Yeah, because it's not a far walk in your head to hear mitigate and think exterminate.
Exactly.
It's really not. And when it comes down to AI, like at least in this report, they start out by trying to scare the crap out of everyone, not because AI is coming, but because the United States may not have an asymmetrical superiority over the AI era.
Yeah. Exactly. Oh, we have to be scared about it, right?
So we've got to be afraid of AI. Because can you imagine what could happen if it fell into the wrong hands? So it's got to fall into the right hands and be completely controlled by the U.S. government and their good friends Palantir and Jeff Bezos and Bill Gates and Eric.
They know best.
And Klaus Schwab and et cetera, and everybody that attended Davos.
Yeah.
Right? All those people. Those are the people we need to give this powerful process and system to. It's like you know what, let's just hand over all the nuclear codes to these fuckers. I mean, why not? I mean, since we're at it here, here's all the nuclear codes. Here's the keys to turn them to.
There's just a lot of characters that people don't really think about, which I don't blame them. Again, if they're not reading about it, they don't know. But all these shadowy characters that actually, I don't even want to say shadowy because they're really not in the shadows. They're actually quite open about their plan. It's just the narrative that stems down from it, and every aspect of society is just becoming more and more apparent.
Well, it's a little of both too, though, because when you're talking, like for example, somebody like Klaus, like his entire internet history is carefully, curated is the word that I'm looking for.
Yes.
I think it's the most apt. And then trying to find out real information about the dude, damn near impossible. And then move from that to them openly discussing what the fuck it is that they want to do. And then as soon as we turn around and go, did you hear the words that came out of their mouth? Here's a clip of them saying this, not me saying this, them saying this. We are conspiracy theorists and Q adjacent and fuck this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
Community guidelines, community guidelines, community guidelines. Alert, alert,
I mean,
alert.
like really,
Community guidelines.
yeah, you can just send people clips like of the person saying the thing that you could also just tell them about, or their favorite media host could tell them about. And I guess they would be more apt to believe that, but you could also just go to the source. So it's interesting. I'm trying to get creative with how I share things, just make really, really tiny clips because people's attention spans are that of like a flea. Honestly, mine's not that great either, but really you can't get people to, like, a lot of people won't read long articles. So just like coming up with different ways to get the message out there.
Or 700-page NSCAI report.
Yeah, that's a little tricky, but someone's got to.
That's not just a little tricky, it's torture.
I like it though. I'm weird, so just throw it my way. Like I sometimes I'd rather just sit and go parse through it. But
What's terrible? Sorry, what's terrible?
No, go ahead.
My videos are so fucking long. My own family won't watch them.
Yeah.
They're like, Jimmy, it's just not going to happen. We just don't want to. It's like longer than a fucking Marvel movie, dude. It's too much.
Yeah.
Right? So I can't get it all in there in a TikTok video. It's just not gonna. I don't.
Right. It's tough.
You're like the Snyder Cut. Like it's like a 4-hour thing.
I mean, that's what I like prefer, but yeah, it's actually doing anything really like in short clips is actually very difficult. I think, especially with this kind of stuff, because it's not like you can just jump in with a little clip and be like, here's what's up. Like people wouldn't understand it, but
gotta go deep on this stuff. And then I have, I'm in the blueprint for action section now.
Ooh.
And I have a very concerning section here. And then we can get to the specific legislation that they propose as well, which is where we find out exactly what they mean by independent third-party testing centers and their oversight mechanisms. So
oversight.
But yeah,
That's
for now,
always
this is from the Blueprint for Action for Chapter 8. Okay. A comprehensive approach to upholding privacy and civil liberties in the AI era requires tackling several large unresolved policy and legal questions regarding data protection and data privacy. Detailed recommendations on these issues would extend beyond the scope of this commission's mandate, but we identify them here in order to urge further study and congressional action. Legal concerns over federal use of third-party data. Congress and/or the judiciary should assess the adequacy of current legal constraints over the federal government's obtainment and use of third-party data, including data acquired from data brokers. Either through evolving case law or legislation, agencies would benefit from clarity surrounding the Fourth Amendment's application on third-party data. In the meantime, agencies should provide transparency on their respective policies and legal basis for accessing and using commercial data. National data protection standards. Data privacy policies and standards that apply to government agencies alone will be inadequate, and in some cases may harm national security interests. This is particularly important considering how adversaries, both state and non-state actors, can access and use data collected about you as persons. As Congress considers proposals for national data security and privacy protection, it should ensure any future legislation addresses the issue of micro-targeting. As noted in Chapter 1 of this report, AI systems will create new capabilities for state actors to target individuals with precision, as well as numerous aspects of our society like cities, supply chains, universities, corporations, infrastructure, and financial transactions. Strong data privacy protections will be necessary for a multitude of reasons, including to shield the United States from this new phenomenon. Now this is the one that fucking pissed me off. National framework for use of biometric technologies. In the absence of federal legislation regulating the use of facial recognition, the existing patchwork of state and local laws and regulations creates a number of difficulties for government officials, industry, and the public. This has led to actions including companies prohibiting the sale of facial recognition to law enforcement, and local government bans on the use of facial recognition have emerged from coast to coast. The lack of a consistent federal approach is also a liability for national security agencies when best practices are not used locally. In developing regulation, it will be critical that policy and legislation account not only for facial recognition, but other types of biometric identification that, when combined with other AI technology, can introduce additional concerns. Go fuck yourself. Like, seriously, go fuck yourself for that. Because what they're doing here is they're presenting the inconsistency in, the regulation of facial recognition and future biometric technologies as a problem. So in establishing their baseline for regulation for biometric technologies, what does that mean? Oh, goody. Now all law enforcement agencies are going to be allowed to use facial recognition technologies. You fucking dickheads.
I was gonna let you guys weigh in on this shit. Yeah.
And that pisses me off too, because like the police, because like it's like, where facial recognition isn't banned by use of law enforcement? Fucking LA County. And guess who approved the use of Michael Moore? I took a trip to Israel in 2014. Chief of LAPD, his request to use facial recognition software. And guess who approved that? The police commission themselves. And we trust these fucks to be able to regulate themselves? We do? Are you serious? And now we're just going to give them the green light to go and use facial recognition so we can establish basic baseline regulations for them? Are you fucking kidding me? The inconsistency is not a problem. It's the use of facial recognition and other biometric technologies. That's the problem, you dickhead.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
And these public-private partnerships that are just continuing to grow. Isn't that fascism? I think it is. Yeah. So great job, because because you were fighting fascism the last 4 years. Not that dumbass Trump, well, I don't want to hear it, but like everyone's, still freaks out about him. Not that he didn't contribute to it, but this is, it doesn't really get more fascistic than this, especially in this era. It's government, business, corporations. Because you can't, this is a little bit of a side note, but an example is, I saw on Twitter today, I think Gloria, you posted it. It was of Jennifer Lopez, and other people, other celebrities talking about business, okay, you can open because it's safe. Well, do you think that's going to be for small businesses? Because probably not. It's probably going to be for larger corporations. So it's again, the government's not going outright and saying, do this. They are, but they can't, they're not legally saying we'll shut you down, but your business has to comply, or else there's going to be a lot of difficult things to get through.
Sidestep forced medical treatment.
Yes. So
that's how you I don't know, pull a bait and switch.
Yeah.
With, medical tyranny, which is essentially what it is. When you put, and this is what this document talks about, is what we talked about with Cory Morningstar. When you're putting AI and the people behind it, because we have to remember that AI doesn't function without somebody who was telling it how to function or what to and so you have to look at the people involved too, and the overall part of it. The worst possible people on the fucking planet are going to be in charge of absolutely every square inch of not just your healthcare, but the shit that goes into your bodies. And that's not just medically, because half of these people are fucking tied to the food industry as well on some end.
Yeah.
Bill Gates, dude, owns both fucking fake meat companies.
Yeah. He's all about it too. He's always getting out there whenever he can to talk about it, do little taste tests with Anderson Cooper. Yeah, but back to just what Lori was saying, it's again just the merging of more and more companies who are on board, and they're all, you know, they use their cool words that go with AI, and like it sounds good to people. They're really great at making a lot of the stuff sound flashy, and like we're headed towards some utopic future. I don't think it's utopia. It's not for us, but there's really just not much time left. So
Yeah, and it's happening faster and faster. I mean,
mhm.
and they'll wrap it up in this in comfort and ease, right? Like, oh well, you don't have to worry about bringing your paperwork or any of this. You know, it'll be just as easy as taking a selfie. You know, and they'll put some millennial graphics behind it and some cheery pop music, and and they'll wrap it up. It was this is it's the easiest thing. We'll say, well, okay. I mean, if it's easier, then sure, we'll go ahead. I mean, it's easy. How bad could it be? It's just a picture, right? They're just scanning your face. It's not like they're, taking your blood yet or swabbing you or whatever. But I mean, yet.
They know.
But yeah, it's getting there, and this is how it starts, and this is how they track you. This is how they know where you go, who you talk to. I mean, it's so invasive that this is absolutely invasive. I wish there was a worse word for it. I don't know right off the top of my head, but this is like, I feel like sometimes they know us better than we do. Like they have more information about us than what we can access because we're so busy like working and doing, all these other things. We don't have a time to even put all of our data together and look at all that to see, like, reflect on it. You know what I mean? But they do. Yeah. They can. Yeah. We can't.
Google's always here for you. Like, were you just thinking about something, or maybe did you mention it? And
I mean, we were
10
talking
minutes later,
about something
it pops
the other
up. It's
day.
like, oh, you're so sweet.
Yeah, we were talking about something the other day, and I get an ad for it, something that I've never searched for. So I mean, like, it's eerie.
Yeah,
it is very, very eerie.
And it's not like that's not new. That's been happening, and it's odd how all of us are a little conditioned to it. Like, okay, but then it's like it doesn't stop though.
What's creepier is when you just have it as a thought. You don't vocalize it.
That's a thing, right? Yeah.
And then you go and you look like 2 minutes later online, and there's an ad for it, and you're like,
okay. So I'm not crazy. That's a thing, right? Because like that's what happens.
Hey, that's the algorithm. They're putting 2 and 2 together and say, you know what? If you like this and this, I bet you'll like this thing.
Like this.
Predicting.
Sometimes there's been really specific shit. I'm like, put my phone.
Weren't we just talking that, like, we've had these conversations a few times where I'll be sitting here going through Facebook or Twitter or YouTube or something, and all of a sudden I'm like, weren't we just talking about this and all of our stuff was off? The same thing just popped up that we were talking about, and now they're showing me on it, or there's a YouTube for it or something of that nature. But just now, you're starting to see articles about the social credit wave that's going to start to come. You have to be a good little Samaritan, a good citizen. And then the facial, it all comes together where the dystopian fucking crap is going to start. It's happening before our eyes. And the sad thing about it, the worst thing about all this is we get it. And there's people out there, like, for example, in West Virginia, 17.3% of the people in West Virginia do not want to take the vaccine. They don't want to take the jab. They don't want to take the shot. They don't want to be included in the experiment or the clinical trials, etc. But 57% of them are getting ready to do the more, to take it, and a second one, blah, 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 blah. And they're just so easily manipulated, so easily controlled, and it's like putty in their hands, and you can just see them laughing with a fucking, like, a Kamala Harris laugh.
Oh God, yeah.
God, that's disgusting. Just watching that, right? And the thing is it's just mind-boggling to see that just nobody will question authority whatsoever, or the cause, or why do they have these giant studios for CNN and BBC and PBS and, you know, even Democracy Now! Has gone the wrong way, and Fox, etc. It's because you didn't give them a fucking dollar of your advertising money or anything. They're getting their money from Big Pharma, the military industrial complex, you know, and nobody puts these things together. Why are they going to put something up that's going to benefit you if you haven't given them a cent? Yeah, you might get a click, you might get some likes, maybe you might buy their product, but who really pays their bills? Who pays for Rachel Maddow to be a fucking warmonger? The MIC, right? All day long. And a lot of people don't get a lot of this stuff that's happening. So our shows, your show, Allie's show, all these people that are out there doing these things are trying to let people know that, hey, I got a t-shirt and a mug maybe I'm selling some vitamins or something like that, but I'm not getting paid bazillions of dollars and bazillions of dollars to lie to you like they've been doing for a long time, for decades.
Yep.
I still got an echo? How do I have an echo?
A little bit.
No, that's because I think, is your mic on? No, you're okay. But anyway, as long as it's not that bad.
Maybe you just like talk more directly between like
Okay.
because you've got a loud voice.
Should I talk like this, like I'm in? Thank you for flying Delta Airlines.
That actually is
right?
It was cute though.
Yeah, that was nice.
But yeah, and
man.
I have like kind of three main pieces of like draft legislation that they propose for this. So
Oh
we
boy.
can get into those lovely things because it gets even better. So the first one they propose, privacy, civil rights, and civil liberties risk and impact assessments for artificial intelligence systems. In general, the head of a covered agency shall conduct risk and impact assessments of the privacy, civil liberties, and civil rights risks and potential implications of any covered artificial intelligence system utilized by the covered agency and take appropriate steps to mitigate risk and adverse impact of any such system of the privacy, civil rights, and civil liberties of U.S. persons. Definitions, because that's where we get to find out what head of a covered agency means. Covered artificial intelligence system means a qualified artificial intelligence system or a significant artificial intelligence system refresh as determined by the task force established in section blank of this act that is designed to collect, process, maintain, or use information on U.S. persons, may inadvertently process, maintain, or use information on U.S. persons, or has a direct impact on U.S. persons. Covered agency. A covered agency includes the Department of Homeland Security, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, and each element of the intelligence community. Oh yeah, sorry. As defined in section, yeah. I'm sorry. Okay. Okay. What's that thing you say? They can't all be zingers now. Yeah.
Oh, dude, your cold reads crack me up. They do.
Okay. Now, here's where it gets spicy, guys. Head of a covered agency shall mean the Secretary of Homeland Security, the Director of the FBI for the intelligence community, and the Director of National Intelligence. So that's who's going to be in charge of these reports, people.
Excellent.
Reports required. Now let's see what all these fucks are going to be in charge of.
Okay.
Artificial intelligence risk assessment. Before acquiring or fielding a covered artificial intelligence system, each covered agency shall conduct an AI system risk assessment. The risk assessment shall assess the potential implications of the covered AI system or freedom of expression, equal protection, privacy, and due process. Oh goody. Account for the environment in which the covered AI system will be deployed, including its interactions with other AI tools, programs, and systems that collect personally identifiable information and include steps to mitigate and track any risk identified in the assessment. Oh fucking
What the
goody.
fuck? Right?
AI Intelligence System Impact Assessment, each covered agency, which, in case if you don't remember that, it was just the fucking DHS, FBI, and intelligence community, shall conduct an AI system impact assessment no less than once per year to assess the degree to which a covered AI system remains compliant with the constraints and metrics established in the risk assessment. The impact assessment shall be based on outcomes, impacts, and metrics assigned and metrics collected during system use, and shall determine if the existing validation processes should be improved. Notice of discontinuation within 1 year of discontinuing use of any non-public or classified covered AI system. A covered agency shall consider providing notice to the public that the covered AI system has been discontinued. Report to Congress. The head of each covered agency shall, within 90 days of this act, submit to Congress a report identifying any additional resources, including staff, needed to carry out requirements for this section. So that's the first piece of
Oh, good.
legislation.
Plus
Or-
just one. Woohoo.
Yeah, just one, because it gets even better.
Yes,
And
it
then
does.
if y'all want any comments on that, I'll queue up. We got a big banger for the next one too. So,
Yeah.
I have questions.
Big one.
I have a lot of questions.
Oh, Stevie, you muted yourself.
I was just saying, yeah, I've got a lot of questions already, so I'd love to hear the next two.
Oh, well,
You just
the
wait.
next one is just amazing. Absolutely wonderful. Section for third-party testing of AI systems. Oh, it's what you've been waiting for, people. In general, not later than 1 year after the date of enactment of this act, the director of the National Institute of Standards and Technology shall establish an accreditation program for third-party independent AI testing laboratories as set forth in this section to conduct independent testing of AI systems for covered agencies to assess potential privacy, civil rights, and civil liberties impacts of such systems on U.S. persons. You fucking heard that right, people. NIST is the
NIST.
Independent Third Party Testing Center.
NIST.
NIST.
Yes.
NIST.
And for
Yes.
those of you
I'm gonna
who are
post
like,
the link.
I don't get why they're gleefully mocking the National Institute for Standards and Tech, because these are the guys who came up with and delivered the bullshit reports on the World Trade Center buildings.
Mm-hmm.
WTC 1, 2, and 7. And the NIST report on Building 7 alone is enough to make you just automatically distrust this the institution. The report on the Twin Towers is like, how is this not written in crayon? And so to have NIST in charge of or be the third party, auditor for AI. I mean, Jesus, dude, you're begging to have a propaganda outlet.
Yeah.
Be
And
put in-
according to
That's
the
all they're doing.
legislation, yeah. According to the legislation as well, they say that NIST also shall determine and maintain the authoritative list for approved third-party AI testing laboratories.
See, it's back to that again. Like, do you make the cut?
So-
Well, actually, I wouldn't really want anyone that's trying. But yeah, go ahead. Sorry, Gloria. Just
And according to the legislation as well, they also have to collaborate with the covered agency that is seeking testing to reach consensus on appropriate protocols and approaches for handling test data, test results, and analyses. So it's, yeah, whenever you see something like, oh, hey, why? Like whenever the alarms go off in your head where you're like, why the fuck would the police investigate the police? This is that scenario, but with AI. And this is that scenario.
Mhm.
It's awful. And the next legislation is just that. But you know, we can end comments on NIST first, because they literally participated in covering up the truth of what happened on 9/11 at the behest of the US government. So you expect them to not extend that same courtesy towards AI? That's something. It really
You know,
is.
you know what I always do after everything? I just go to their website. So theirs is measure, innovate, and lead. I mean, yeah, they're innovating all right. God. Yeah, so NIST, I feel like I actually feel like NIST is something that a lot of people like average people, like, you know, they know the CIA, I would hope, FBI, you know, DOJ, like all the the alphabet groups. But I think 4-letter NIST is something that's a little more mysterious to some people. So again, it's just good, like if you're talking about this with someone, you know, just send them a link to Slay Newsday or whatever, because a lot of people don't know about it. Just like explain it a little bit. If you just bring up 9/11 and just like connect the dots for people a little more, they'll be like, oh, okay. Because otherwise sometimes you're met with like, oh, well, that's a doomsday scenario. Like, why would they want to do that? I heard that. I've been hearing that a lot lately. Why would they want to do that? You're telling me all of these people are in it together? And it's like, yes and no. But that, you know, those are questions that you'll get. And it's just like explaining it and breaking it down to people. But what were, Stevie, what were some of your questions? I'm curious.
Oh, but real quick though, hit them with the architects and engineers for 9/11 Truth Documentary 7. Hit them with Loose Change, the final cut. Hit them with Shade the Motion Picture. Yeah, there's a number of different things you can throw people. Are you having fun, Lord? Are you having fun?
She's having a good old time, isn't she?
Yeah.
She wants to stuff some money into something, I think.
I just see her over there going like,
because it's your birthday.
Oh yeah,
Steve.
We do have some Rockfin tips. I don't know. We should probably read those off.
Yeah, why not? There's only one lovely legislation left.
Okay, well, let's do that. Then we'll read off the super raise.
Yeah.
Okay. Can we have, by the way, real quick, can we get access to that?
The report?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Awesome.
I'll put it in chat here.
Awesome.
Yeah,
awesome.
it's all available to the public.
Oh, cool.
All amazing 700 something pages of it.
Wait, yeah, sorry.
Steve Brett put up the NIST the other day. I started going through it, but I was like, I'm not really finding much about this. I thought it was for like third parties, but it's like, which could affect third parties. But it's, you know, it could affect everybody, which it's going to.
Yeah, so one of the things that they propose as well is to help, you know, with privacy and civil liberties, is to establish a task force to assess the privacy and civil rights and civil liberties implications of AI and emerging technologies. So, section on establishing a task force on organizational structure for AI intelligence, governance, and oversight, because that's what always helps. A fucking task force.
Always.
Establishment. Not later than 90 days after the date of the enactment of this act, the president shall appoint a task force to assess the privacy, civil rights, and civil liberties implications of AI and emerging technologies. This includes identifying policy and legal gaps in and making recommendations to ensure that uses of AI and associated data in the U.S. government operations comport with freedom of expression, equal protection, privacy, and due process. The task force shall assess existing policy and legal gaps for current AI applications and emerging technologies and make recommendations for legislative and regulatory reforms on the development and fielding of AI and emerging technologies, and institutional changes to ensure sustained assessment and recurring guidance on privacy and civil liberties implications of AI applications and emerging technologies. Now, this is where it gets good. Let's see what the membership is. The task force shall include the Attorney General and or his or her designee, the Director of the Office of Management and Budget and his or her designee, the Director of NIST and their designee, the Comptroller General and their designee, the Inspectors General for the following agencies: the Department of State, the Department of Treasury, the Department of Defense, the Department of Justice, the Department of Health and Human Services, the Department of Homeland Security, the Officer of the Director of National Intelligence, and wait for it, the CIA. Woo! Fuck the CIA. Just add that really quick. Okay. And of course, just to get some reassurance in there, the Chief Privacy and Civil Liberties Officers of each agency is described in subparagraph E. Ooh, goody. The Chair of the Privacy and Civil Liberties Oversight Board, the Chair of the National AI Advisory Committee Subcommittee on AI and Law Enforcement, and the reassuring one, representatives from civil society, including organizational leaders with expertise in technology, privacy, civil liberties, and civil rights, and representatives from industry and representatives from academia, but wait for it, as appointed by the president. The task force chair and vice chair, the president shall designate a chair and vice chair of the task force among its members. Responsibilities of the task force. The task force established pursuant to subsection A shall conduct an assessment and make recommendations to Congress and to the president to ensure that the development of fielding AI and other emerging technologies by the federal government provides protections for the privacy, civil liberties, and civil rights of U.S. persons as appropriately balanced. As appropriately balanced against critical law enforcement and national security needs. Issued criteria for identifying qualified AI systems and significant system refreshes requiring AI risk assessment reports and AI impact assessments under section blank of this act. Recommend baseline standards for the federal government use of biometric identification technologies, including, but not limited to, facial recognition, voice print, gait recognition, and keyboard entry technologies, because that's where I want the baseline standards to come from. A task force primarily comprised of the fucking national security community itself. Great fucking shout. Recommend proposals to address any gaps in federal law or regulation with respect to facial recognition technologies in order to enhance protections of privacy, civil liberties, and civil rights of U.S. persons. Recommend best practices and contractual requirements to strengthen protections for privacy, information security, fairness, non-discrimination, auditability, and accountability in AI systems and technologies and associated data procured by the federal government. Consider updates to and reforms of government data privacy and retention requirements to address implications to privacy, civil liberties, and civil rights. Assess ongoing efforts to regulate commercial development and fielding of AI and associated data in light of privacy, civil liberties, and civil rights organizations. And as appropriate, consider and recommend institutional or organizational changes to facilitate applicable regulation, and assess the utility of establishing a new organization within the federal government to provide ongoing governance for and oversight over the fielding of AI technologies by federal agencies as technological capabilities evolve over time. organizational considerations in conducting the assessment required by subsection C7, the task force shall consider the organizational placement, structure, composition, authorities, and resources that a new organization would require to provide ongoing guidance and baseline standards for the federal government's development, acquisition, and fielding of AI systems to ensure they comport with privacy and civil liberties law, to include guardrails for their use, and to disallow outcomes to be incorporated in policy and embedded in system development, and provide transparency to oversight entities and the public regarding the federal use of AI systems, because that's who I trust. I want the people that openly admitted that they lied, cheated, and stole to be in charge of providing transparency and oversight to this. Thanks, guys. The existing interagency and intra-agency efforts to address AI oversight, the need for and scope of national security carve-outs, and any limitations or productions that should be built into any such carve-outs, and the research, development, and application of new technologies to mitigate privacy and civil liberties risks inherent in AI systems. Reporting. Not later than 180 days of establishment, the task force shall issue a report to Congress and the President with its legislation and regulatory recommendations. The task force shall provide periodic updates to the President and the Congress. Within a year of its establishment, the task force shall include a report to the President and the Congress with its assessment on organizational considerations to include any recommendations for organizational changes. And that there includes Chapter 8 of the National Security Council's report on AI.
Thank you. That's exciting. That's really exciting. I like that.
Search and seizure, unreasonable search and seizure. That's what's happening. They're going to be able to search and seize our information at a whim, just because they fucking feel like it.
Mm-hmm.
The Fourth Amendment is gone. It's leaving. And the sad thing is, I'm seeing it from, like, I thought the Democrats used to be the party of freedom and liberty, etc. And then, you know, not to put the labels out there, but all of a sudden, they're like okay with censoring everybody just because they talked shit about, you know, stopping the steal, right? Or brought information about stopping the steal, or Hunter Biden. And then now it's just basically this tidal wave's coming and you're just not going to stop it. This is what I'm saying. This document, this report, everything here is just saying, guess what? You're fucked. Good night. You know, that's it.
And it's, you know, it tells you kind of already what's been happening, like just surveillance as far as like smart cities. Like you can just walk around here in Chicago and like in the little, like there's these, like they look like little billboards like right outside like the bus stops. Those all have cameras on it. So there's various things, just like more examples of like just little bits and pieces of surveillance that are put in. It's all for the good of our safety. And why is that, do you ask? Because we're always under threat of terrorism, and it's been foreign, and now we've still got a lot of domestic terrorism problems, which, you know, you'll see legislation with that continue. So it's like, it's just a pattern. It's I hate to see so many people get caught up in like the really petty spats and the day-to-day shit, because the patterns really tell you everything you need to know.
I understand that this is going to be legislation driven. So I understand that there's probably going to be, you know, proponents and opponents of this legislation. They're going to talk about it, and then people are going to talk about that. But that's fucking theater.
It is. It's a fucking show.
Because the goal that they state in the report is total superiority over the entire AI sphere.
Yeah.
Regardless of whether or not, you know, you have an opinion about it.
Yeah, that's
why it's
important. Keep in mind.
Huh?
And keep in mind, this is supposed to be the chapter on oversight and protecting democratic values. So that's what it looks like when they're trying to pretend to protect democratic values. Imagine what the defense chapters are going to look like. Imagine what the chapters on innovation are going to look like, because it's going to get worse.
That is a good point.
Oh
Yeah.
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 I think like last week or a couple weeks ago I heard there was a Senate hearing, I believe, or some intelligence briefing, and I just tuned in like shortly, and I overheard it was like a general or something talking with a senator, some politician. I'm sorry, because I really wasn't paying that much attention to the politicians. It was more of what they were saying, and it was they were talking about the morality of whether or not like robots could kill people or not. And you guys will be very pleased that our government says that under no circumstances will a robot be able to, you know, like in the military, kill somebody without a human behind it. And I was just like, this is our fucking world. Like that's what they're debating. And then that's not new either, but it just again goes back to like, they'll tell you a lot of this stuff right out in the open. It's just you've either been conditioned to accept it, or it just sounds really nice, or you know, it probably seems too daunting to be like, you know, that's too scary to admit. Or if I talk about it, I'm going to be the conspiracy person or the crazy person. It's like,
well, I mean, in the
join the
case
club,
of
man.
stuff, yeah, in the case of stuff like this AI report or something like Davo, like that was technically out in the open.
Right.
But the only people who paid attention to it were people like us who decided to torture ourselves and watch those panels and like watch those 30-minute panels, which only 30 minutes were available to the public.
Yeah.
And it's like that was the open part, and still not enough people watched it. And like with this AI report, like there's almost no one is covering it, like except for us here. And it's just, it's like it's out in the open, but the thing is, because of the way that media has been so pussified, no one is going to actually talk about it, and it's going to remain happening kind of behind closed doors or like in silence.
Well,
Yeah.
and there's a whole industry in narrative management that's
Yeah.
incorporated into that like the vast majority of media outlets are a part of.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, the people up top willingly, I would say a lot of the people, you know, lower in the ranks, I don't necessarily think that they're all privy to what's going on, but they're doing their job. That's, you know, what they'll say. I mean, they might understand it, I would hope, but there's a lot of people that don't really even understand how they're participating.
The narratives get reinforced by the people who present them, because in order to justify what they do, they've got to see the world this way.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So in an office environment in a major news outlet, it's everybody, you know, reinforcing that world, that narrative, that bubble. So if you stray outside of it, you know, you're shunned, you're crazy, you're this, that, or the other, and you're unemployed.
Yeah.
So the risk of stepping outside, of saying that, you know, maybe we shouldn't let Eric Schmidt and the Department of Defense be in charge of artificial intelligence because they've proven that they're sociopaths. With this,
Wait a fucking second, Steve.
Was that an independent thought?
Steve,
You know what we've told you about
Chill.
those.
chill.
Are we critically thinking? Is there something wrong with us critically thinking?
Bring on the
Don't go down the rabbit hole.
Oh no!
Bring on the
right?
fucking context warning. Hey,
Right.
bring on the fuck. Hey, you see me in my mask? We see you, HBO. We see
I
you
was
trying to
gonna
tie Anonymous to QAnon. We see you.
Right.
Bring on the fucking context warnings.
Yo,
It's
dude,
okay.
yeah.
Oh no, I just said it's okay. Like we fucking dare you, bitch ass.
They're coming, and we're ready.
Yeah, again, man, I've been kicked out of better bars by bigger bouncers.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck about YouTube.
Right.
By the way, if you're watching on YouTube right now, please go make your free Rockfin account. We're live over on the Rockfin right now. it has been much kinder to us than YouTube. We would like to, because YouTube keeps unsubscribing people from the channel anyway. We'd like to lap the number of subscribers we have on YouTube over on the Rockfin. Please help us do that. I think it's possible. Before YouTube kicks us off, I would like to see us have more Rockfin subscribers than we do YouTube.
Yeah.
Help us make that possible. The only way we can do that is if you guys, actually take part in it. And with that, let me go ahead and read off
Yes.
the tips that have come in. Janine Campbell says, "Yay, Redneck Economics and Montauk." And thank you, Mona. Aw.
Ooh.
Cheers to a genuinely good person. I can only assume she means Glory. Allie, I don't know.
Oh, come on.
No,
you do
stop
have to say
kidding
Steve.
yourself, Steve.
Rachel Sotos, thank you very much. Costello, thank you. He says hell to the yes. I have no idea what that is in regards to, but I agree.
I assume it's in
I'm
regards
a
to.
hard bargain, sir, but
I just want to say thank you
It's-
very much, Glory, for reading all
Oh
that.
yeah.
In the
Word
research,
by
yeah.
word, by the way,
Whoa.
which you will never hear from Biden doing anywhere close to that. It'll be like the fucking opposite, of course, right?
Not even on a note card, you couldn't do it.
With pictures, right? With pop-up
Yeah.
fucking pictures, you wouldn't be able to do that.
he had,
That was a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
he had a hard time at that press conference. He did.
Oh,
And
what?
every
I'm
single
sorry,
fucking
Steve,
word
I
was
don't-
written out for him. He
Yeah, I don't-
stumbled over Fourth Industrial Revolution. He did. He had to like say it twice.
Yeah.
For
Steve, we are entering a
it.
fourth industrial revolution. If we do not abide by the science, then we will be headed for a dark winter. Oh, I'm sorry. What? I didn't say that loud enough. Okay. We will be headed for a dark winter.
This is sad.
Dark Winter, Atlanta Storm,
Your
Cloud
audio
X.
went back to doing the thing. You had a button that you pushed, and it was noticeably better or something. Now it went away completely. But you had it there for a minute. It was fantastic, and then it went back to the fucking echo thing. And yeah, but you did whatever you did immediately the first time. Fixed it.
Don't you hate this stuff?
There has been a gremlin in our audio forever now. Like we've disabled every
gremlin.
device. We've tried new mics.
See,
I don't even know what it could be at this point. We just kind of try to mute
Kevin?
and hope for the best, cross our fingers.
Oh,
But I
God.
have a question about all this. So, like, I know that, like, in certain areas, especially, I know, like, California, especially, is like one of the most surveilled states, right? New York, that is another one. But like, how's this going to work in places like out here where there's still people, towns and stuff that don't have internet? Like, how is this like? Are these going to be like are they going to try to like cattle people out to the coast, or like how?
Couple of things. You're going to see incentives for people to move into big cities and be commuters. You're going to see punishments for people who live, outside of major cities. Look at what little CIA Pete has been talking about as transportation secretary. With that, we would like to tax people by the mile.
Okay.
Like that is only that's designed to punish people who live in rural areas, and people who have to commute outside of the city. There's all this like new housing being built in major cities, but it's all high end.
Mm-hmm.
With like little nods here and there to low income housing. But here's the thing: if you can pack a fuck ton of people into those, major metropolitan areas, and then put them all on UBI, you've got just generations of ready-made data points
Yep.
Oh,
with
yeah.
which people can continue to profit off of through exploited labor. And then everybody, it feels like probably gets told that they're doing their part to save the environment by moving into this major metropolitan area and having all of their water shipped in and having all of their food shipped in and shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's
But-
really starting to feel like Sorry to Bother You. I think that's the name of the movie, right? Where they all,
You guys were
look
just
for
talking
people. I
about
mean,
that.
like it's really Jeff Bezos is about there. There's so many. Like we are just like, I don't know, a year from that. Like it's so close. And the thing is like they're going to make it harder for people to live out in the country
Mm-hmm.
in rural areas. I love my state, but it is pretty grueling to live here as it is. I mean, it is a pretty blighted hellscape a lot of the times. But I mean, like, what else could they possibly do to us out here?
Yeah.
Like
that's a good
take away the
point.
jobs? I mean, like
Mm-hmm.
they've already done that. Poison our environment. Too late on that. That's already been done. So I mean, I guess go ahead and tax people. That's pretty much the only thing they've got left up their sleeve because they've I mean already driven people out.
Yeah. They've done a number on West
other
Virginia.
states as it is.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna try this. How's my voice coming in?
Good.
I just fixed it, and I Googled it first.
Thank you, Google.
Thank you, Google.
Yeah.
Right.
See, there are some things. Yeah, it's good.
But,
It's hard, but I
anyway.
mean, hey, fuck it.
Right. Yeah.
Works out.
Sometimes it used to be fine. All this information and technology used to be fine. I mean, when I'm working, I tell people all the time, I miss my pager. I miss being able to call somebody back when I want to. Right.
Right.
I mean,
yeah.
I'm just, I'm old, but the thing is all this technology is coming so fast and people can't keep up. But at the same time, it's also extremely terrifying. Not just because you don't understand it, it's because it's moving at warp speed
Mm-hmm.
and they're going to bring it to you at warp speed, whether you are with it or not. Like Steve was saying earlier, these congressional hearings, they're dog and pony shows.
Yeah. Bread and
They're
circus.
they're
Mhm.
just theater. You make it seem like they give a fuck,
Yeah.
but they don't. Because what has ever changed? What does anybody have Medicare for all? Does anybody have a living wage yet? Has other wars gone? I mean, Stevie just went over the fucking list, and it's on and on and on and on. We're still being screwed, and everybody seems to think that it's all okay and everything's fine. When you open up this package that's going to be coming, this package that's going to, social engineering and social credit and the scanning, even if Glory's wearing a mask, they'll be able to read your body language, how you move, how you walk. They'll
Mhm.
identify you in that, silhouette, right?
Mm-hmm.
But what's going to happen is it's going to come in a nice, pretty package. You're going to open it up, and out comes like one of those Jack in the Boxes.
Oh,
Kamala Harris.
oh God. No. That's a
That's called
nightmare.
Duper's Delight. By the way, James, that's called Duper's Delight.
2%.
Shout out to Misty because she's the one who told me. And I remembered all on my own without having to ask anybody this time. It's probably why
Good
Glory's
job,
clapping at me like I'm
Steve.
a fucking child.
Yeah. That's
Uh,
what it reminded me of. Good job.
Yeah.
You were the one that said you never wanted to grow up, so yeah.
Well,
Because I'm a Toys R Us kid. I'm going to stay a Toys R Us kid.
I was
Oh,
not
yeah.
ever a Toys R Us kid. I was like whatever the knockoff kid was, that was the lane I was in.
I was a Kmart kid.
right.
I got sticks and rocks outside.
Here's
Yeah.
a
But that would piss off my parents though. Because I did love playing with sticks and mud and stuff, and you like the thing is you would bake a mud pie and stuff. And then my parents would be like, "Oh, great! Now you have to go fucking clean yourself."
Oh, we just like pelt each other with dirt clods and occasionally stick rocks in them. Yeah, throw them at the kid you didn't like.
I promise
Yeah.
you, like, you can buy a kid $100 toy, and they will have more fun with the box than the toy. Like that's usually how it goes.
Dude, my
Yeah.
younger kid would just as soon break the toy and then, go run around outside.
Yeah.
In
Yeah.
South Florida, it was fun because like you could play around with like the coconuts and stuff. So, just,
With
yeah.
coconuts.
I will be wearing that bra. Thanks for
Well, yeah.
reminding me, Lauren. I will be wearing the coconut bra. Doing my ancient hookah. It's gonna happen. I'm feeling it. I don't know if it's gonna be on that day. I'm not off on that day, but I'll be out there soon, and I will be filming it, and it'll be live. Oh God, because I
Yeah,
promised a lot of
James.
people I was gonna do that a long time ago. Because once I said, "Hey, this is all gonna turn into a shit fest," and I have to go out there, and sure enough, it's turned into a gigantic shit fest. And so it's definitely past due, and I have to get my butt out there and do a little hookah, a little hula, in the skirt and the coconut bra. Damn it! I can't believe I'm saying this right now.
I think it's
And
funny.
I will be filming it.
Yeah, you're
And she'll be filming it.
That's funny.
Woo-hoo! Getting dollars.
World Star.
It's gonna.
funny.
It's not. It's gonna be bad. It's gonna be bad. I'm just saying. People are gonna be like, "Oh, don't watch that." Oh no, it's gonna be the TikTok video. Everybody's gonna avoid. Oh my God.
That's
Well,
funny.
real quick, I do want to give a special shout out because we have Rob Juno up in the chat today. So,
Hi,
what's
Rob.
good, Rob? We're glad you're here for Steve's birthday.
Yes.
Hey, Rob. Much love, man. You can get in here, Rob. We'll send you a link. Somebody's got your email address if you want it. There are a couple other people. If you're part of the wrench gang, and you want in, let us know. Somebody will get you a link.
Yeah. Email me at the
I've got-
email I am
I've got
providing in the chat.
about an hour, and then at 8:00, I will be on one of Sam Tripoli's like 30 or 40 podcasts. And there's an Anonymous Bites Back tonight too.
Dang. Got a lot
Yeah,
going on.
boy.
Yeah, which is fine with
It's good.
me. Because, like, the person that I want to hang out with on my birthday is on the other side of the country anyway. I'll get to see her at a fucking like week anyway, so it's all right. Yeah.
Patience. Yeah, there you go.
Hey, I was just gonna
That
say,
was cool.
I just got out of YouTube jail. I was in for a
Yay.
week.
Congratulations.
That's awesome.
I was just, getting too close to the target. Sure enough, a surface to air missile came and fucking took me down from the community fucking guidelines rocket center. And so I'll be back up tonight. Stevie and I are going to do a show later on. We're late nighters. I get off work at 10
Yeah.
o'clock. So she's always like, yeah, you guys are.
No, I am too. I get it. That's what I mean. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I don't really start getting like tired till about 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning. Because,
Yeah.
for me, that's like bedtime.
Well,
But-
we got a meeting, and then
Yeah.
and then the fun stuff.
I got a show coming up pretty soon in regards to the CDC ex-director, which people are still talking about now, and the Pfizer ex-CEO, chairman, I think he was, and then a few other information in regards to this jab, the shot, the clinical trials that everybody's fucking going through, and a few other things. And the reason why I'm doing the show is I've got people in my own family circle that are just buying this fucking charade, hook, line, and sinker. It's just
Mhm.
it's hard. It's
Yeah.
hard because I'm like, is my shows are too long. I'm sorry, but just ask me a question. I've got like tons of slides. I've got tons of documents and saved links with information, quotes from I've got tons of information, but no, Rachel Maddow's right. CNN's right. Anderson Cooper's right. No, don't la 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 la. They do this la 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 la, and I'm just like, Jesus Christ, it's just ridiculous.
It's
Anyway, I'm going to be
frustrating.
talking about that later tonight.
Right on.
I just have to say thank you for having. Is it okay? Because I got to start getting ready. Is it okay to go? Am I okay to go?
No,
Okay.
you must stay
Okay.
forever.
Okay. Okay. But
kidding.
Steve, I want to say,
on
listen.
that, man.
No.
If you like unaware of the complete lack of structure to this
Okay.
entire fucking like
You can't leave yet.
Yeah. Well, the producer said I had to stay on it. No, I'm kidding.
anarchy.
Right.
Like, what do you want? Do what you want to do.
How do you think I'm here?
I just gotta
Like,
I'm still prepping slides and doing a few other things, but I always say happy birthday to you, bro. I gotta tell you, out of a lot of people, I love Slow News Day. I love watching you guys.
Yay.
And if my side hurts, my stomach side, you know, there's that chuckle side, that laughing side, because you'll say some shit, Steve. I'll just like, fuck. She's like, shut up. I'm trying to do my show, but I'm listening to you stuff. That's fucking hilarious, dude.
Oh,
And
you
Glory,
can't-
awesome.
no,
Allie,
you-
amazing too.
Thanks.
You
Not
gotta
to say.
Appreciate it.
You can't. You gotta be there when she's doing her show. You can't be off listening to other shit, dude. That's fucking.
Yeah.
It's fucked up. You gotta laugh at her jokes.
It's
She is funny.
at certain
She
times.
is
I'll be going
funny.
through and stuff like that on my microphone. I know, right? No, she doesn't want me to because I'm
We
bothered.
got you, Stevie.
No, I might, because the thing is, I might say something. I might throw like a word out there and throw her off. So I kind of be in my own.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got you.
I know you got her back. I know you got her back. But
All right. Okay.
Anyway, I want to say thank you very much.
Same.
Aloha.
Thank you.
You guys are awesome.
Aloha, James.
Keep it going. Keep it going, man. Boom, boom. Woo, woo. Let's keep it going. You know what I'm saying?
Have a great night, man. Have a great
Take
night.
care.
Thanks.
And let's see. Okay, so tomorrow is Friday at 5 o'clock Eastern. I have an interview with Misty. She's going to come on and talk
Oh,
about.
yeah.
Hold on. She's going to discuss some more of the details about Julian Assange because I just know a lot of like the more of the surface level. There's so much to learn.
Yeah.
So she's going to come in and really get into some of the details, the important stuff, and
Awesome.
kind of steer me like, where should I start? Because I mean, there's just so much information that I don't even know where to even begin. So she's going to come on, help us out with that. And then Saturday, Robbie Yeager's coming on, and he'll be on 7 p.m. Eastern. So he can
Nice.
talk about the oil or the spill in North Carolina and all the information that he's found out with that. And because I mean, he is absolutely brilliant when it comes to like the financial stuff. So yeah, I love it when people go in and trace the money because it's so important because that's what it's all about, right?
Yep.
So he's gonna come on and
Easiest
talk
way.
about that. And Allie and Glory, hopefully soon get you on.
Yeah, I would love to. Anytime.
So we'll make that happen soon.
Sounds
And
good.
I'm gonna go get ready for our board meeting.
But, oh
And
my God.
I'll see you in a couple of minutes.
You too.
All right,
Yeah,
thanks for having
You're
us on.
awesome, Stevie.
Oh
Talk to
yeah.
you later, guys.
Thanks for turning up.
Yay.
Fun.
Yeah, I love streams with them.
They're funny.
No,
Stevie cracks me up.
Jones said, I don't know if you were in yet or not, but one of her 25 favorite Slow News Day shows that she's done,
Yes.
what, 6-7 months that you've been on
Yeah.
now. I mean, I get that
Oh
we do.
my god!
I get that we do a lot of shows, but they can't all be your favorite, Jones. They can't. They can't.
It's hard to pick a
I
favorite.
know that's not all of them are my favorite. Just like 20 of them. Like it's okay. It's both Reverend Nanny episodes, of course. The Corey episode we did on Sunday. Our first episode with Red Economics and Manitalk. The show with Whitney we did like back in October. My very first show with Whitney.
Mm.
And then what else? all the mod panels. So that's like 3 extra. And what else? There's more I'm forgetting. Oh, our JFK show.
Ooh.
Yeah, our JFK show.
That's some good
The
shit.
one we did with Whitney and Johnny at the same time, and then the 3-hour, the big 3-hour one we did with Johnny on his Klaus Schwab article. All 3 shows we did live in DC.
You're really doing 25, aren't you? Okay. You're getting
Yeah.
there.
For real.
No, I'm not
And
gonna
then
say
we're gonna
all of them.
ask her like in a month, and then she'll have to go through all the shit that we will and are going to be doing live in just what, 9
and
days?
there's Vanessa
Yeah,
show.
coming up.
The show we did with Vanessa where she flicked off
Oh,
the
shit, she's
camera.
still going.
The show
Yeah,
show
I
we
looked
did
at you. I'm
with,
like, you know what? You just, yeah, okay.
the show
Okay.
we did with Vanessa Beeley and Juan Passarelli at the same time. Because
Okay.
Juan's an awesome person. I think that's it.
I think so.
I'm forgetting some. I'm actually forgetting some though. No.
You'll follow up. I believe that you will follow up. Just teasing. I'm finding my place here in like the
What?
balance. I like teasing both.
Oh man.
Well,
You're
what's
so
your
cute, Lou.
favorite show then, Steve?
Ooh, throwing it back at you.
Yeah. Thought so. Hard to narrow it down, huh?
You know, man. Well, yeah, it is. It is.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna even try and pretend like I have a favorite or know what I would point to as one. But there's a few that like get me every single fucking time. Mostly because Jason Carney's on and he's not here anymore. And I'm like,
Aww.
yeah.
That's killing me, man.
Yeah. Which is honestly why we haven't like put together anything for that. It's just too fucking
We'll do it eventually.
little bit too much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
Well,
one video I forgot. That's one of my favorites. It's the legendary, immortal Nico House versus Yellow Vest America debate.
He shakes his head.
Man, that was good.
Why you gotta bring up bullshit?
That was something.
Because that debate is hilarious, and that debate is one of the reasons why I started watching Slow News Day regularly. So
the whole concept of that thing, and they both knew it going in, and I think like the audience that was new to me, most of them figured it out pretty quick, but they both knew that like the only reason I was moderating it is because I thought that the Democratic Party had already figured out who the nominee was going to be, and that the whole thing was bullshit.
Mm.
And so I didn't have a horse in the race, and was going to like remind both of them that
Yeah.
throughout.
Yeah. Like, well, this is kind of, yeah. I'll just let you know real quick, right? Just a good reminder.
Yeah.
You need that. You need that.
And I didn't know Nico that well at the time either.
Oh, okay. Also interesting.
And he's like, yeah, no, I get it. You know, I understand where you're coming from. I just...
Oh, I forgot about our Commander X interview.
Which one?
The Commander X interview we did, like the last one we did, like that one's really special too.
Oh.
I'm sorry.
No, why?
That was rough. A little
Because
bit.
yeah.
I mean, you got a dude who thinks that it's going to be his last interview or is planning on it being like the last public interview that he gives. And fuck it, it's, you know, changes shit. It really does.
Yeah.
You know, fucking, really, really honored that he would, you know, come to this show with that.
I think you're onto something with this show. People seem to like it. I actually have a question for you, Steve. I won't say, since it is your birthday and all. What's tell us some wise words. What's something that you've I love when people ask me these cheesy questions, so now I'm gonna do it to you. What's like, if you could, I could either do the one where if you looked like back 10 years ago, what would you tell yourself? Or what's something that, I don't know, what's it like? What's next? How do you foresee like the next 10 years?
If I were to tell me 10 years ago anything, it would be go ahead and quit drinking earlier. I think
Word.
that's what and it's just because I couldn't be doing any of this shit. Like
Yeah.
I just couldn't. Like it wouldn't work the way that it does. You know,
Mhm.
it would be very much off, and it took a couple of years of just I was just getting like not doing much of anything before I was even like, yeah, I'll put together a show. Fuck it, you know.
Mhm.
So I mean, really, dude, we got here way too late. And I know that. You know, at least in terms of like people seeing the show based on algorithm and being suggested and shit like that. Like we had already, the censorship was too much, you know, before we showed up.
Yeah.
So coming into it that late, weird, but at the same, you know, but at the same time, we were at Rockfin on the ground floor, and we have an opportunity there to do, you know, I mean, obviously the exact same show that we do on YouTube, you know, but to not have to worry about being fucked with for it.
Right.
And to even, you know, have Rockfin extra mile it and like do promotion for the show.
Mhm.
You know, or like actually tell people when we're live.
Yeah. I know, right? Crazy concept.
That's
Yeah.
fucking hella weird. And I mean, really, looking forward, it's just about trying to pull people that I, you know, love the fuck away from major metropolitan areas and building out communities.
Yeah.
You know,
Sounds good to me.
fuck, man. I mean, it's world leaders are openly talking about, hey, we're here to usher in the Great Reset and UN Agenda 2030, and like that's what they're telling you.
Yeah.
You should listen to that. You should pay attention to that bit. And if you still think you can affect some change at a local level, by all means, give it a shot. You know, give that shit a shot. Maybe you can. In Santa Cruz, it's the developers and tech, and that's it. Like
It's yeah.
like there's little bits around the edges that you can do.
Right.
And that's shit that needs to be done. But I mean, really, like I don't view it as giving up, you know, to be like I'm actively trying to get the fuck out of this, you know, this particular part of the country or any major larger city. Like that's not giving up, that's giving yourself a chance. Because when they start making every city a smart city, when the Internet of Things is completely rolled out and active, and I saw somebody in one of the chats say something about broadband or high-speed internet bill that's being proposed right now, that's so we can have an Internet of Things. That's so the 2030 agenda can get put into for real play. And
Yep.
now that, I mean, fuck, dude, 30 years people were talking about you in Agenda 21. Well, this is 21.
Yep.
This is where we're at. The reason that Agenda 21 existed is so they could roll out 2030. We're here.
Yeah.
We're here. We're a quarter of the way into it. And everything that we've seen in terms of narrative management, in terms of, domestic terror legislation, the AI report, the tech hearings.
Yes.
All of that shit, dude. It's shit that, it's shit that, like, some of us have been talking about forever, but it's fucking here is the point. That's the point. Now we're in the fucking middle of it. What are you going to do about it? If you think, or you're trying to sell someone the idea that there is still a pathway towards a sustainable and workable future that doesn't involve AI-driven surveillance of fucking every aspect of your existence through the Democratic Party, dude, no, stop. Put that shit down. Or the Republican Party, put it away. Stop thinking that there are legislative solutions to what the Great Reset, the Fourth Industrial Revolution, you and Agenda 2030 are about. They're not. You can't legislate your way out of that.
No, they've already put in things so that you can't. They're thinking ahead a little bit. They've already implemented it so that they'll think they're legislated away, but no. The legislation includes all of that. It brings it in. So yeah.
I'm gonna try and eat before I do Sam's show, but before we get out of here, like, if anybody in the chats has a question they want to throw, now is the time. And other than that, we can start winding down.
Ask away, people. Let's see.
Ask us.
But
some wholesome birthday questions.
Actually got like a decent little buzz from I slightly more than microdosed. I didn't want to get like loose or anything. I knew I had a lot of shit to do.
Yeah.
But the show that I'm going on in about an hour is it's Tripoli's like spiritual show.
Oh,
So
okay.
we're gonna get motherfucking mystical.
Motherfucking mystical. Right on.
I have no idea if this thing's live. I don't even know what form he puts it out on. I had no clue. None whatsoever.
Just show
But
up.
once it's up, I will, I'll make sure to share it with you guys.
Yeah, man.
I like Sam. He's fucking, he's a good dude. He is. At least to me. I know that there are people that have many and varied opinions of the guy, but
You like him?
I know
shit.
Sam Tripoli
Ooh.
personally.
I don't know him. So I know who he is, but I don't know him personally. Got a question though.
We got some super
Yeah.
rays. We
Okay.
got one from Mona. Thank you. She says, "Whatever, Steve. I was thinking about you, and you goddamn know it, bruh." But yes, love all my people on the panel, especially my ladies, Glory, Allie, and Stevie. Hell yes, Mona.
Thank you, Mom.
Anna Bears, vaccine pass to the Capitol. This is real life Hunger Games. Who knows?
Yeah.
It's real life something.
I mean,
And
with the
hey,
fucking, it had that Hunger Games vibe when we were there a couple of weeks ago with the concrete blast walls and razor wire and fucking, MRAB just fucking parked like a block away from where we were at the Fox and NBC building. Yeah, that was cute. It was.
Yeah, it's
Sorry. You were.
Oh yeah, sorry. I didn't know you were doing anything.
Super Ray says, "Happy birthday, Steve, to your health and good sense."
Thank you, guys.
Cheers.
Thank you. Cheers.
And we got a super chat
Yeah,
from
you got
Cannabis
some questions,
Sativa. Says, "How do we develop the street and people smarts you have, Steve?"
People are asking questions, so it's like you've got some answering.
In my case, I actually, lived on the streets.
Whoa! Wow! You're one of those people.
I don't know if I would go that route. Yeah, I mean, really travel, man.
Yeah.
And I know that that's a shitty thing to say in the era of COVID-19 '84. I know it is, but at the moment, it looks like some shit's opening back up. We got celebrities making videos about it, pushing that fucking narrative. And while that's happening, we need to take advantage of that. We need to use that as much as possible to have direct person-to-person communication about this. It's fucking vital. But in terms of dude, I don't know, because a lot of it just makes sense to me immediately. There's not a lot of breaking down or analyzing of what's going on, but I start out pretty fucking cynical. But I mean, look, dude, I'll tell you what, anytime anybody asks me kind of how did you get this way? I credit Coast to Coast AM with Art Bell in the early and mid 90s, 80s, and fucking real punk rock and clean LSD. And that's, I mean, for real, dude. It's how I grew up in fucking Anderson, Indiana. It's not like there was a lot going on.
Indiana, ooh, yeah, no shit.
I mean,
Cornfields and talk radio.
For real.
All right.
And if you want to, you can, learn how to fuck up a cornfield in a 4x4.
Yes, you can.
Because I did. And it was fun as fuck. And I'd go do it again.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean, I've always had to do work for my shit. When I was 9 and I wanted a bike, my dad was like, "Great, get in the truck. Let's go get you a bike." And I'm stoked. And he drives me to the fucking Roundtree office, sized me up for detasseling corn. That's how that shit worked.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't, dude. I don't. I mean, it does. A lot of it makes sense. But I read a lot. I had pretty smart parents. I had grandparents that were into making sure that we got to travel, and they were itinerant preachers. Their retirement gig was being interim pastors because they could always get hired someplace for 3 to 6 months or a year or two, and the church would pay for them to live there.
Nice.
And so that's what they did in their retirement, is they would just fucking go be an interim pastor at a church for a while, and then we would go visit them, or they would have us shipped out. And I'm sure there was a little financial shenanigan going on there. I'm sure there was.
Probably.
But you're probably not supposed to use those fucking church donations to have your grandkids flown out to see you. But I don't know. You can't.
No, and if
Some
somebody wanted to,
Baptist. And we got another super chat as well from Shadow Band Refugee. And I think we could get Base God, Tech Ninja to weigh in on this. Shadow Band Refugee asks, "Do you think blockchain could slow or stop Internet of Things centralization?"
No.
The power
Yeah.
requirements alone make blockchain unsuitable for many, many things, and that's one of them. I mean, it's just the power requirements are fucking insane. And So like Bitcoin, the transactions per, I think it's transactions per second is like 15. Some crazy amount. That's at max they can do. So it ain't there yet. It's just not. It has its uses, but it's definitely not a one size fits every damn solution. It just doesn't. As much as some people think it does.
I'm trying to. There are a lot of questions.
Oh,
I
okay.
believe.
Amanda
That's-
Wealtha, thank you. Sent a super ray and says thank you for doing what you do. Dude, there's such a wide lane in independent media for people who don't want to get mired down in like red team, blue team, or blue team
Yeah.
versus lighter color blue team, or all that shit. Like, you're not going to get a third party in a country that rigs its elections.
Well, if we just try hard enough.
Vote harder, goddammit.
They'll let you think you can. They'll let you play around. It's a great fucking limited hangout.
We just got to get money out of politics.
Stop fucking pretending so much.
No. Okay, I'm just kidding. Okay.
Oh,
As long as we get rid
That's
of
kinda
corporate donors, everything will be fine.
No corporate money.
surely
No
by
corporate
playing
money.
their game by their rules, we will be able to come through victorious.
Dude,
No corporate money.
no-
Donate to
It is
Pluto.
time to make the Democratic Party the party of labor again.
Yes.
Dude, all no corporate PAC money does is make them find new sneaky ways to launder their fucking money. That's it.
Like investors.
That's it.
It's pretty
Yeah.
easy. You just file yourself as a different kind of corporation. You get money from investors and voila.
Yeah, you created a fucking whole new niche fucking cottage industry too.
Sure did.
Who fucking help facilitate that.
Yeah. Your branding's pretty easy to spot, by the way. I'm just saying they're getting predictable.
Yeah.
Fucking the problem. That's the problem. The problem is the system.
hmm
So thinking that you can make adjustments to the system, it is the problem.
You can just change it from the inside. No, you can't. They've already kind of like thought about that. Like that's kind of already been done. If it were that easy, it would have been done. Well, you shouldn't be so negative. I'm not. It's called kind of just being realistic. There's other ways around it.
It's called.
And if you
What's the difference between a government and a government? It's not
Yes.
both of you.
fucking
Oh yeah,
Okay.
I've been. What's next? Like I said, like obviously LA. I'm excited for that, and just there's probably I've got like I think 15 now different just like Kate's being on social media, but she's got to be on social, trying to find that balance and stuff. But I'm happy to be here, so I'm excited to.
Excited for it.
Are we?
Steve, you might.
and I look forward to it.
Amanda Wealth. Oh, never mind. Amanda M says, "Happy birthday, fellow who."
Oh my God.
And
That's a
Margaret
celebrate.
Villa, thanks for the super ray. Says extra happy birthday, Steve.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
So thank you very much. Much love to you. Stoked to see you in the planning meeting, Sarah, by the way, dude. And I know you. I did just order you a megaphone. You
Thanks
fucking
everybody. Love y'all.
big thanks, Sleep Josh on the ones and twos. Go make that fucking Rockfin account.
Please, thank you.
No
Hey.
streaming problems. It's not fucking YouTube. We have a lot of free content up there. If you do dig what we do, $9.99 a month thing with Dean. So dynamic on this show, Glory Jones. Like sometimes I start sentences and then
course.
realize that we don't need to have them on camera in the middle of a live stream. 20 minutes to eat.
Yeah, because you'll do this thing. You'll go like,
Yeah. At any rate, see you guys soon. Good luck.
Love you. Bye.